Okay, I've done some work, as you can see. Um, I'll talk about this little ladder in a minute. I want to show you some of the other stuff that I did. Um, I added this little front piece onto the house. I need to take a tiny bit of spackle and I did something weird here with sanding. I think I accidentally gouged it. So I just need to put a tiny bit of spackle in that and give it a little sand, and my little Keystone dollhouse looks pretty good. I did realize though that I made the line too low. I should have moved this up higher, and it should have been at a different angle, which I can adjust in subsequent patterns if I feel the need, because there should be a window here and there's simply not enough room. So I'm going to add 2 windows here, and when I say windows, I mean I'm going to paint them on, draw them on. So I did that, and it's actually just 2 little pieces of gray board, a bamboo meat skewer that I measured and then cut in half. I think I actually used 2 of them. Okay, stop that. I actually used 2 of them because I wanted to get a certain amount of roundness for a little column. And then you can see there's a little shadow line around the inside. I put a tiny piece of carton board in there because I wanted the door to stand out a little bit. So that I got done, and the sanding and everything is done on that. I did a lot of really, really careful painting with this piece yesterday. And in fact, you can kind of see how when you're painting with using a lighter paint like this, like a yellow, how things will still continue to pop through the surface, even though I hit it with some white paint. And here you can tell there's some areas where the paint is more yellow here than it is like in areas here, and especially along the banister. Or I should say, this is the balustrade. I think you'd call it a balustrade. This is a baluster. This is a banister. But while I was painting the yellow, I was noticing on sides that are going to be seen that there were areas that looked like this, kind of blotchy and yucky. So I let it sit and dry for a while, and then came back with a thicker white paint and gave those a really nice smooth coat, and let it dry, and then came back with the yellow. So I think I'm going to be adding another couple of coats of yellow paint to this because I want it to look nice and neat. And I need to do, a part of me is kind of like, I don't want to say dreading it, but working on this piece to get everything really smooth. It's one thing to have this area and say, I want it nice and I want it smooth, and it's this big wide open area, but I've got all kinds of other little things to concern myself with. It's not fun. It's not the most fun painting. So this is on its way to being completed. Oh, are we going to pop up? Here we go. And this is like the biggest change. You can see here on the side, I'm going to get this as close as I can. And I did some things better than, some things I really like what I did, and then others I'm kind of like, I should point out, if you've looked at what I'm basing this on, that A-frame, the Fisher-Price A-frame, this would be one of the sides of the A-frame. There'd be 2 of these, and then a flat side there, and then there was like this little door that came down. So what you saw were these 2 little areas like this with the shingles that are on that piece are far more uniform and don't have nearly as many of these little splits and things in them. I decided to go ahead and go with it because I liked it. I liked the look of it. I did a little test and I really liked how it looked. And you can see here in the light, there's some, I came through with a pointy awl tool and made some lines in it. I can pull more of those lines out with subsequent paintings because you can kind of see, like if I'm holding this here, you can see like right here, this was just the first coat to get the paint on. It's just the base coat over white, and I went ahead and continued that all the way around the edges, leaving this a color. I don't like this being this color, and I think it has to do with, if I tilt this down a little bit, you can see where these are in the same family. This is kind of a tealy blue. It looks more teal on the screen. It is more turquoise green in reality. But what I don't like is when these two come up against each other. I don't particularly like how this is too much of a block. This right here, these are too close in hue for me. I need this to be a different color. So I'm going to have to choose a different color for that. I've made some decisions about how I'm going to be putting in the plexiglass, and how I'll be putting it in here as well. But my big thing is I need to figure out what color I want for this inside. And for the life of me, I keep going back and forth, and I was doing research and doing color swatching last night, trying to figure out what color I wanted in here. And in the original, it's very 70s earth tone. So we're looking at brown, tan, oranges, muted yellows, some avocado-y kind of green, but really a little bit more heavy on the warmer browns, which going with this, I was a good choice. I'm not sure about that. I think that if I did a color in a brown, it would have to be a tan that leaned a bit more heavily into orange. I shouldn't say heavily, but was a little bit more orange in light, which then also asks, what do I want to do here? So I think what I need to do is I need to paint this the red that I want it to be. And then I need to see how it interacts with everything else. Now, remember in that kind of long and meandering video of how I was talking about, it sounds as though even when I'm talking about my artwork and when I am working on my artwork and when I am trying to decide on a composition and color and all this other stuff, I inadvertently use the word play. So this is one of those times where it's not, again, the connotation of play and work, and guess what the blog post is going to be about. I need to work with the color. I'm trying to be more conscious about, I need to sit down and look at these things and see which one works the best. I'm not going to play with it. I'm going to work on it. And it should also be noted that the colors that I want to paint the house are close to what I want, what the original house was, but lean more into a color grouping that I have decided on, that adds in some things like purple, which is interesting. So I really want to put some of those things together first before I decide on things. I do know that with, okay, all right, oh, you're just not going to focus, that this will be brown. This will be like lovely, like chocolate brown. Does that make sense? Not milk chocolate brown, but kind of in between milk and dark chocolate. This is a little bamboo ladder. I knocked this one together last night because I wanted to look at some proportions. And again, I say I knocked it together. No, I sat down, I looked at how big I wanted it to be, knowing that I want to mount it here, knowing that it will be mounted onto this side permanently. So I sat down and I figured out the mathematicals for what I would need to do. Now, the thing that's a little different about this one is I don't know if you can quite see it. I was having some agita, I guess you'd say, about the rungs, and I didn't want the rungs to not look attached enough. So I decided I was going to do some sanding on one side. Oh, there you can see it. Can you kind of see it right there? Right there. I did some sanding to make flat spaces. Now, the problem is the methods that I was using for sanding were not great. Mind you, I only did this in about a half an hour because I wanted it done this morning so I could manipulate it and see if I actually liked it. You know, do I want to use it here? Is it something I want to use at all? That sort of thing. And I've made some decisions about it, and the decisions are yes, I do. However, I was noticing I was going through, and I'm an aficionado of bamboo. These are shorter bamboo and a little thicker. These are usually used for candies and fruits and such, whereas these are the super inexpensive kind that you can get from like the dollar store. They're not very expensive. They tend to bow a little bit. They're used once and then, chucked away. These are also a little shorter. When I'm working with these, what I've noticed is these are a little higher quality all the way around. Ha ha ha, as I twist it around. Sometimes with bamboo, and I'll go through, can you see this right here? This little knot and this little icky place right here? This is the stuff that I'll find in these a lot, and I'll have to like cut that part off, cut that part out to use it. So I could feasibly make another ladder out of these, but I don't know that I like how slim it is. I think I want something a little thicker, and I think the sanding method that I have will work better. Basically, the sanding method that I have is take this, which is sandpaper, put it on the edge. Okay, there's I'll cover up my knee. I don't want to. I basically put it here. I have marks for where it is, and then hold it like this and sand. Now, I could, and I may try it with this because it's a much better piece of bamboo, I may try to split it. Sometimes the splitting just does not work. It works better with splitting with smaller, shorter pieces, which is another thing I've thought about for these as well, to make them lay a little bit better. But I think what I'm going to do, because I think this is 17 centimeters, because this is just perfect, I think I'm going to go ahead and give building another one of these ladders a try with the same measurements and proportions. Although I need to do my math a little bit better. You can see here, like, these are all proportioned pretty well, and then the top and bottom ones are not. So either I need to move those up a bit, because they're sitting in about 1 centimeter, which I think would probably be the easiest thing to do, just move them up a little bit. Or make the ladder just about 3 millimeters longer, and then move them up a little bit if I really want this much on the ends. And again, these are the things that when you're looking at a piece of artwork, you don't know how much someone agonized over a color, or the way something was sanded, or the fact that I will come in as soon as the lights are off and the camera shut down. I'm going to come in with a little bit of spackle. I'm going to put it right there because this bothers me. It bothers me so much. agonizing over what color I'm going to choose, making sure that I went in and made all of these marks that I plan on pulling out because I scraped them into the surface. Something that you don't even see until you're up close is something that I sat and took the time to do. And I really like how the shingle stuff turned out. I think I'm going to give this is something I think I would like to use again. I have a lot of the little leftover ones, and it was way easier to do than I thought. So I'd like to show you guys how I did that. But, you know, I'm having one of those, I'm having one of those days where it's like there've been too many people in my feed that are like, look, I'm an artist. And they have absolutely no training in art. They've just decided to get a watercolor set and start making art that, oh God, I just feel horrible about this. It's interesting because as an art teacher, it's very easy for me to say that yes, everyone is an artist. Everyone can create. Does that mean that you and I are the same? Does the woman who my current one that I finally blocked seeing any of her videos is this skinny blonde woman who makes the most banal home decoration, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, a lot of these people, the paintings that they're turning out, these abstract impressionist paintings and cubist impressionistic, and it's like, you don't know what you're talking about, please stop. I was telling my husband this morning, it's like, you know, I wouldn't hang it on my wall, but I would love some fabric made out of that because I would wear a dress with that on it. But you calling yourself an artist, you and I are not the same. I sit down every single day and work on my art practice. Every single day. I have formed my entire life around being an artist. I shouldn't say being an artist. I have formed my life in such a way that I create artwork every single day. It's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning, and it's the last thing I'm thinking about when I go to sleep. Well, this morning it wasn't, because my husband was trying very hard to wake me up, and I was not having any of it. So, yeah, there's a part of me that just wants to kind of unload, and it would not be good. Yeah. You may call yourself an artist, but we are not the same. We are not the same people. Okay, I'm gonna go away and build some ladders. That should calm me down. And I'm gonna fix this with some spackle. And then I'm not gonna think more about this color today. I'm gonna paint this. So I'm gonna build a ladder. I'm gonna spackle. I'm gonna paint this. Those are what are on, and well, maybe a chair. I really want to build a chair today. Okay, whatever. I will see you in the next video. Thank you, patrons, for letting me ramble. I will see you in the next video.